There was something about it that just touched me, and I just knew that it was time.
Can't get enough of this. Being with you is like never-ending sunshine. Feels like everything stops for a while when we look into each other's eyes. How could I ever let you go now when you're looking like that? Can't get enough of this. Being with you is a never-ending sunshine.
Hey chickadees, how are y'all doing today? I know it's been a little while, but we've been going through a lot. I'm going to do a video talk today about it and let you guys in on what's been happening with us and what we've been up to. But right now I'm going to start off with a tour of our foster care room and let you guys see part of what we've been doing. All right, so over here we have a TV, obviously, but here we have her dresser and the garbage can over there so that it's convenient. So here we have a dresser though, all ready for her. Plenty of space for her to put anything that she wants. I have this thing where I put Kleenexes in every room. So here's a box of Kleenexes for her. A brand new water bottle, so she will be downstairs. A brand new water bottle so she can fill it up and not have to get up in the middle of the night, because getting up in the middle of the night would set all the dogs off. And then also here we have a Kindle Fire Stick, an Amazon Fire Stick actually, so that she could plug it into this TV, and we'll set all that up for her. But an Amazon Fire Stick so that she could plug it into this TV and have access to everything, to all of our networks and everything. That goes with that. Here is her bed. See, it is a full-size bed. Full-size nice wood bed. And this is the stuffed animal that I will give her when we go to pick her up on Wednesday. I wanted to have something to give her. She loves dogs. And so I got this stuffed animal so to kind of break the ice a little bit and give her something to cuddle on. Let's see, we have the stars pattern here, and then this is exactly what the sheets look like as well. They're also stars, and they're a really nice flannel, so they're going to be nice and warm down here because we're still pretty chilly here in Colorado. As you can see, all the walls are blue. They're all painted blue with white trim. All of our downstairs has this little like ledge that comes out. It's part of the foundation. It's in every room. So she has all of this area where she could set anything that she wanted. And I didn't put anything up on the walls so that she could decorate that however she wants as well, and put up whatever kind of posters and pictures she likes. I left my piano in here because they said that she really likes music, likes to listen to music, and likes to play music, but they didn't say what instrument she likes to play. So even if she just likes to fool around on this, I brought it in here. If she ends up not liking it, then I'll just take it out for her. She has some gray curtains. And this is her view out the window. Just a nice little view of the yard. And the privacy gate there, so she has privacy, doesn't have to worry about the neighbors seeing right in. A little star nightlight globe. I thought that it went well with the bed sheets and the bedspread. Here are a bunch of different colored, multicolored pens for her. They are actually the colors that they say that they are on the outside, so the pink pen is actually pink. So she can also color with them as well as write. We have 2 journal notebooks here for her in case there's anything that she wants to write. We didn't know if she would be more into the glittery or more into the silly, so we got both of them. I like the no problema. So these are just here for her to write down her thoughts or just to scribble on. I have another nightlight here because they're not allowed actual candles in their room, and plus these can be left on overnight, so in case it just gets a little bit too dark down here, you know, being in a strange place and everything. My kids, for their night lights, they love to keep the smaller versions of these that I have, and they just keep them in the bed with them, and it just makes them feel more comfortable. I put some flowers in here for her. They're artificial so that they won't go bad. I put some flowers in here for her the other day. They're not forget-me-nots, but the color reminded me of forget-me-nots, so with a nice blue. And we have cubbies and drawers here for her to put stuff. Lots of storage. Lots of storage, and then the shelves up here as well. Some more cubbies down there. Everything is empty, available for her use. This is her closet. The closet does not have doors on it because the doors that came on the closets when we originally moved into the house, I hated them. They were those heavy, heavy sliding doors, and they were always coming off of the top ledges. So we just decided to take all of them out. So, but here is a basket for her so that she has her own personal basket. And for right now, she can just hang her clothes up here on this ledge. That's what I do with the closets that don't have bars right now. But I'm still going to be getting a bar to put across from here so that she can have it for her clothes. I had originally taken it down because I did not want the children hanging from the bar. You know how every bar that a kid sees automatically looks like a circus trapeze. So I had taken that bar down, and I have no idea what I did with it. But and here she has lots of shelves for storage. You see how tall the closet goes up. Lots of shelves for storage here in her closet. Lots of room down below if there's anything that she wants to put down there. And then we have a mirror that I put up for her the other day, so she can have a full-length mirror, and there's a plug right there, so if she wants to sit right here and do her makeup or fix her hair or whatever it is that she wants to do in the morning, she has the ability to sit right here and do it. I know as a young girl, where I did my makeup was sitting on the floor in front of a mirror, so I didn't have a vanity, and also no one really likes to get ready in the bathroom, so I thought that having her own mirror in here would be really nice. I'll just let you see how the ceiling comes over. That's just how the header is. And of course there's a fire alarm up there. We have one in every room. And then she just has a little cubby over here where the door opens up. Really can't put anything there because that's where the door goes. But one last look. So this is her room. And when she comes in, she is welcome to rearrange this room however she likes. We really don't care if she rearranges the room, if she changes it around to, let's get this way so the light comes in this way. We're getting to the time of day where the sun is right above the house, and this window is facing west perfectly, and so from noon on, this window, just the sun comes through so strongly. I totally lost my train of thought. But anyway, the last thing I can remember saying is that she can rearrange this room however she wants. But that is basically the tour of her room. We are expecting, today is Monday, and we are expecting to pick her up on Wednesday. So that's how fast things are moving this week. But I will talk to you guys in a little bit. I'm going to go upstairs to set everything up for just a one-on-one so that I can catch you up and give you a little bit more information on how our foster care journey has gone. We've had lots of ups, we've had lots of downs, lots of moments of excitement, lots of moments of frustration and fear, and so I'll just give you a little chat and let you know all the ups and downs and ins and outs of our journey so far. And honestly, it's just beginning. You know, this young lady will be our first placement. So we have, you know, some idea of what to expect, and then we have no idea of what to expect. So We're definitely beginning a new chapter and a new adventure, but I will see you guys in just a little bit. I'll see you upstairs, and we'll have a longer talk. Bye. Hey chickadees, well, we are back for a longer talk. I've had to take my glasses off because this light, there's no positioning of it that I can find that doesn't put a glare on my glasses. So right now I hope that you can see me because everybody's a little blurry. Everything is a little blurry. So where to start with our journey? I guess I'll start real quick with where we were and when and how we first got the idea that we wanted to foster adopt. This was a long time ago. This was back, I would probably say 2004, one of those years, either above or below. But we were living in Peachtree, Georgia, and my oldest daughter, Savannah, had a friend named Lily. And Lily was the most precocious little girl. And she was just, every time you would see her, it was, come play with me, come watch this, come listen to this. And she had a story for this and a story for that. And she was just, the best way I could describe her was just precocious, but precious as could be. And then one day, Savannah came home and she said that she was upset because Lily was moving. And so as a parent, we just thought, well, we'll just get her information, and with social media, she can just keep up with her nowadays. And so we had Savannah to get Lily's phone number the next day, and we called, and a woman answered, and the conversation didn't go any way that I thought it would go. Ends up that Lily was a foster child and that her placement was being moved, and the woman wouldn't tell me any reason why, just that it was for the best, was what she said, that it was for the best. And I couldn't get any information on where she was going or how to stay in touch with her. It was basically that she was just going to be gone. One day we knew this child, and the next day she was just going to be gone. And we were heartbroken. I think it was more so heartbroken at just the way that things were being done with this child, because Savannah told me that in school, Lily was just crying and crying and crying because she was going to have to be moved. And she didn't know where she was going or what was going to happen. And I just remember thinking, how awful. Just how absolutely awful. And it still makes me emotional nowadays thinking about it. In fact, it just still breaks my heart. So the way that Richard and I were feeling about Lily, we were feeling so strongly, and we still feel so strongly about it. I still to this day wonder whatever happened to Lily. But it was then and there that we decided that one day we wanted to foster, and if not just foster, but foster adopt. Because I had been adopted. My biological father was not in the story a few years after I had been born, and my dad, who adopted me at age 4, had always been around. He had been a family friend, so he had been around since I was an infant. In fact, he used to babysit me. But he'd been around since I was an infant, and so he adopted us. He married my mother, and he adopted us, my sister and myself. And so he's the only father that I've ever known, but I had it in my mind that adoption was always this possibility, this thing that was out there, that having children also meant the possibility of adopting a child. It just always went hand in hand. And Richard was also very, very open to having to adopting a child also. I'm not going to go into his story because that's his story, and it's, his privacy, and I don't want to go into that. If he decides to go into it one day, then that's his story to tell. But he was just always very open to it. When I brought it up, he was, absolutely. We couldn't at the time, or else we would have tried to adopt Lily. We couldn't at the time because we had just gotten married. We were very young in our marriage. This was the second marriage for both of us, and when you go through a divorce, it just makes you very nervous about marriage in general. And so we wanted to make sure that, this one was going to stick, and that we were going to be strong in our marriage and strong in our, within ourselves, that, we didn't want to adopt a child and have things go terribly wrong. So, we didn't even have children for a very, very long time. We each came in with one child. I had Savannah, who was about seven or eight at the time. And he had Justin, who at the time was about 9 or 10. Savannah and Justin are about a year apart. And I've known Justin since he was 5. So, we stayed married for a really long time without having children ourselves. This was when the economy was struggling, and I kind of had it in my head that I wanted us to be to a certain level and a certain place financially before we had children again, because I already knew what it was like to struggle with one child. And so we waited about 7 years before we had children ourselves. And so we had Lorelai and Andrew, and since I had them older, we knew that we wouldn't just keep having them. There was going to be a pretty quick cutoff to when we had children of our own. And so I had Lorelai and Andrew, and we were perfectly happy for a long time. And then I would say probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, that door in my heart started getting knocked on. And it was this voice in my mind and in my heart that kept telling me that, it's time. And of course, I still had my reasons, my excuses for why, it wasn't time. We weren't financially this. We had just moved again. We just moved from Arizona to Colorado. We're still getting settled. I had all of my excuses, but God continued to knock on that door in my heart and tell me it's getting close, that, it's almost time. And so there was one night about a year ago that I was watching something on YouTube, and it just touched my heart so much. I believe it was from the Crazy Middles. If anybody's ever watched any of their vlogs, it was one of the kids' stories. They have a set of 3 that came together, and I believe it was their story. And there was something about it that just touched me, and I just knew that it was time. That all of my excuses were selfish, and that when it came down to it, I had no more reason to wait. That it was time, and it was time to begin the process. And so when Richard came home, when it was the right time, I think it was whenever he came home, or either the next day, whenever I knew it was going to be the right time to show him something. Sometimes when they come home, you don't just want to, bam, hit them with something. So it was as soon as I knew that it was a good time to show him something. I showed him the same video, and it touched his heart the same way that it touched mine. And he said, okay. He said, let's go. Let's find out, to do what we have to do to get started. And I told him that I would find out the information, and so we did. I started making my calls, and I found out when the state's orientation was, and I went to that, and I called around to a couple of private agencies, because when you start this journey, you don't know anything. You don't know anything at all. You're just, walking in the dark, basically. So I called and found out when the state's orientation was, and then I called a couple of private agencies, because I had no idea what the difference between state agency versus private agency was. And so I went on the orientation. The orientation actually happened to be that week. It was within a day or so of me calling. So I went to the state's orientation, and what they had to say was what they would usually say, which is that their first and foremost want and requirement is reunification. Sorry, I lost my thoughts there for a second. Reunification. That was their priority, reunification. And I totally understand. I totally get where they're coming from. For what the state does, and which is, they have to go in and they have to remove the children to start with, and then get them placed with someone in an emergency home, and then get them placed in a residency that will take them for however long it's going to take until the parents can do the work that they need to do and reunification can happen. Or if reunification can happen, then an adoptive home can be found. That's how the state works. That's not what Richard and I wanted to get into this for. We wanted to get into this to adopt. And we wanted to adopt those children out there that the parents' rights had already been removed. We're talking the kids that are in the system, that have been in the system, that have no home, have no hopes of reunification, have no one. They're just stuck in the system. That was what we wanted to do. We really didn't have in mind that we were going to foster. We had in mind that we wanted to foster adopt, and that the whole point in our minds and our hearts was to adopt. So I came home and I told my husband, I told Richard, that the state's not for us, that their agenda and what they have in mind, what they're going to be doing, it's not for us. They have a different plan than what we were looking for. And so it happened to be the next day. One of the private agencies called me, and it was Safy, S-A-F-Y, Safy, which I didn't know anything about. And so this guy called, and he gave me this very, very brief and basic rundown of Safy and what they do, and how they said that they would have children that were available for adoption, and that they were a very small agency. And I really liked how he explained how they the level of care and the level of support were extremely high. So we set up an appointment for this guy to come over, and basically he was going to give us an orientation here at the house. So day comes. You can probably hear the kids in the background. They have been so loud lately. So the day comes, and I can't even remember his name. He comes and does the orientation here at the house. And we really liked what he had to say. Basically, Safy was everything that we thought that we were looking for. And so he let us know what the appointment times and everything were for the classes, and what we could do, and what we could start doing with the books and the online work. And so we started doing this, and probably about a month into doing the online classes, we got a call letting us know that this guy that we had been talking to was leaving. That he was going to, not a call, it was an email. That's right. It was an email that I got. letting us know that he was going to be leaving Safi and that he was going to be pursuing his master's degree. I think Rich is going to be coming in here in a second. He's got to go to work. So, come on. Yeah, I know. He's like, I gotta go. So, come on in. Yeah. Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Say hi.
I did. Bye.
Bye. All right, so we got an email saying that he was going to be leaving Safi and then he was going to be pursuing his master's degree, which was great for him. But then we get switched over to somebody else. And we had our classes coming up. And so after the first class, it was a little bit funny. Because the whole time during the first class, we had this little pack of Postit Notes sitting in front of us. And the whole time during class, Rich and I are writing on these Postit Notes back and forth. Because everything that we're hearing from the people up in the front talking is not what we believed Safi was. We believed it to be a different kind of agency. And everything that we heard kept saying, foster, foster, foster. And we knew that with foster adoption, there would be a process of fostering before you adopt, because you have to foster for at least 6 months before you can adopt. But everything that they kept saying was fostering, 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 and they only mentioned fostering. And so Rich and I were starting to get a little concerned. So we were sending these notes back and forth. And at one point, one of the things that they said really, really scared me, because they said the words trauma-informed therapeutic home. And this is when I got the most scared and the most concerned. In fact, I sent Richard over a message that had 3 letters on them, and I'm sure you can guess what those 3 letters were. But trauma-informed therapy home, and this is not what I signed up for. I knew this was not what I had signed up for. That we were wanting to adopt. And that, a trauma-informed in therapy home, we knew that these kids would come in with some trauma and that we would have to deal with, some issues and have lots of therapy. But to actually be one of those homes where the worst cases go, I had planned on this. This is not what I signed up for. And so Rich just sent me a note over and he was like, let's just listen. Let's just, be patient and hear what they have to say. And so I stopped sending him notes, but I'm still silently freaking out. And I'm going to add this in there. It's funny where God sends you. God places you where you need to be. And the majority of the time, it is not where you planned. It is not where you planned that you were going to go. It is not what you had in mind. I love that saying that, God hears you making plans, he's laughing, it's true, because I had my plans. I wanted to foster adopt. That was my plan. That was what I wanted to do. I didn't understand why this was so difficult, why I kept running into roadblocks every single time. Why was it's so simple? There were so many kids out there that needed a home. Why couldn't we just foster adopt? Why couldn't it be that simple? But it wasn't that simple. And where we were was definitely not what I had in mind. And so we sat there throughout the first class, and we let them know before the class was over, we need to talk. And Rich and I sat down with our next coordinator that we had, the new guy on the phone, basically. We sat down with him, and we sat down with one of the other coordinators. Basically, she's the one that takes care of everything. Once a child is placed in your home, she's the one that, you know, shows up at your door a lot. So I let them know, blah, 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 the whole story. And so they said, okay, we understand. You know, we're sorry that there was any confusion, and we're sorry that, you know, for there being any misunderstandings. They said, we can place adoptions. We're just not used to it. So up until Rich and I came along, the majority of people that came in there, they were just looking to foster. They were not looking to foster adopt. And so that's what they usually did. You know, he said, now we can do it. He said it's going to be a little more difficult though, because he says we are not an adoption agency. He says, but we can put you in touch with the adoption agencies when it's time. What we can do is we can find the child for you. So this begins this version of the adventure. Now we get to find out what it's like to try to adopt a child out of foster care. And the whole time our foster care completion is being worked on. Our certification is being worked on. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Our certification is being worked on this whole time. We're doing all the paperwork. We're getting all the background checks. We're getting the fingerprints. We're doing all of this. And in the meantime, they are looking for placements for us, because it's you know, different than what they would normally do. They would have all these foster placements and they would just place one with us, you know, after we were certified. Well, this is different. Now they have to actually look for specific ones. And so there were several that came along. There were 2 little girls that would have gotten placed with us if we had our certification, but it came down to us and another couple, and we did not have our certification yet. Ours was taking a little bit longer than what they had planned. They had planned that our certification would be done in October, and I can tell you right now it's February. And that's a different story too, is the whole journey of our certification. But it's February now, so a lot of time happened in between when they thought that we were going to be certified. So we missed out on 2 little girls. Basically, the way that the adoption process works for children that no longer have parents, that the parents' rights have been revoked, now the state is in charge. Basically what happens is their social worker now becomes the parent. So say how it goes in a private adoption, where they do these booklets and these packets and they have their pictures and their whole story and everything. In a state done adoption process, your home study is what they get. So they get your home study, which has everything about you in it. The ups and downs, ins and outs, good things, bad things. And they go through all of these home studies, these stack of home studies, and they decide the homes that they think would be best for these children. And then come the interviews. So they go through the home studies, they pick out the ones that they like, they set up the interviews, and then they come and they interview you. And they check out your house, and they see what they, you know, what they like, what they don't like, and of course they don't say anything. They don't let you know. You just hear in a phone call whether you are down to, whether it's down to you and one other couple, or whether you've been taken out of the running. So there were several that we were taken out of the running with. And so I started to get really frustrated. Really frustrated. So I started going on these sites that, you know how you can go online and they have the sites where they have these pictures of the kids that need a home. My husband started calling them dating sites, basically, because they don't give you any information about the child. Nothing about their history. Nothing about what they've gone through. there goes the door closing. Nothing about what they've gone through, nothing about them. Basically, it's just, here's this child, here's their age, here's a couple of things that they like to do, you know, would you adopt them? So, I started going through these, and anytime I found a child that I was interested in, I would email their caseworker. Now, part of the problem with these caseworkers getting back to you is it says on there that it could take up to 6 weeks for them to get back to you. So, you email this person, you might not hear from them for 6 weeks. So, I wasn't counting on hearing back from anybody anytime soon. Well, this particular young lady that we have coming into our home on Wednesday, our placement, our first placement, her social worker contacted me within the next day. Come to find out that she was staying in a state home, and that she was due to be released very, very soon, and they needed a home for her to go into. And so I let her know that I would talk it over with my husband, that I would call my home study coordinator, because usually what would happen was the agency would choose, and then the home study coordinator would contact us, and we would set up a phone call between the social worker and us, and that's in our home study coordinator. It would be like a conference call, and so that's how that would go. Well, with this, the social worker contacted me straight to me, and so I let her know that I needed to set up a call between our home study coordinator and her and with us, and also talk to my husband about this. And so her response was, okay, but let me know because we really need a placement for this young lady really soon. They didn't have one, so they said. So I contacted our home study coordinator, and he set up a call ASAP, as soon as he possibly could. I can't remember if it was within the next day or within the next week. I just remember that things started happening really fast at this point. So we set up a call, and I actually had a call with the social worker before that because she wanted to talk. She wanted to talk immediately. Because she was, you know, under the gun basically to get this young lady a home. And so she was just advently looking. Is that a word? I can't even think right now. I'm starting to get a little tongue-tied. But she was looking really, really hard. And so I spoke with her for probably about a good hour, and I learned a lot about this young lady, a lot about what she had gone through. So that way, honestly, when I could speak to my husband about her, I was able to just give him the gamut of things that she had gone through. And they were all terrible. You will not believe how many placements this young lady has had. And it was just heartbreaking. It was just absolutely heartbreaking. All the things that she had gone through, the emotional trauma that she has endured. It's just heartbreaking, but it's also terrifying because, you know, you hear this story and you feel just terrible. But you have to ask yourself, whoa, wait a minute. Am I up to this? You know, is our home up to this? Is my family up to this? What about the younger kids? How is it going to affect them? How is it going to affect, you know, our home? All the possibilities and the things that could happen. You start to freak out a little bit. And so, it took several conversations with my husband and I for me to stop freaking out. And so we set up the conversations between the social worker and our home study coordinator, which led to us having well, not us, me, because Richard had to be at work. I drove 3 hours one way. So it was a total of 6 hours that day to go to the institute where she was and to meet with her so that we could have at least one meetup before she came into my house. And she barely spoke. She just seemed so sad. she barely spoke. We would ask questions and she would answer. But it was in this very just calm, dejected voice, not in the way that you would expect a 14-year-old. I don't want to say normal 14-year-old, because I think that's kind of terrible to say, normal 14-year-old, because she is a normal 14-year-old. She just has been through so much more than the average teen. But she barely spoke. And so we had a very short meeting. Everybody decided that they were going to go have lunch and finish figuring things out after we said goodbye to her, because the meeting time was up and she had to go back. So I gave her a hug goodbye, and that was it. That was our interaction. And then so all of us went to lunch. We went to lunch at one of the sandwich shops. And that was when all the rest of them started just talking, because they knew what they needed to do. They knew the plans and everything. And I'm just kind of sitting there just looking back and forth, quietly munching on my food, because I had no idea what to say. I had no idea what to do. And every now and then one of them would ask me, how does that sound to you, Julie? How does this sound? How does, does that work for you? Every now and then, they would say that. So basically it was set up that this coming Wednesday, she is going to be moving into our home. I am going to drive to Denver, which is only 45 minutes away this time, thank goodness. Because I really don't know if I could do that 6-hour drive again. I was so exhausted. So this time it's only to Denver, which is about 45 minutes away, not nearly as bad. So she'll be moving in on Wednesday, and I pray that I know what to say when it's time to say it, and what to do when it's time for us to do it. But we will see how things go. She is our first placement, and I hope that everything goes really, really well. I have lots of faith, and I have some excitement, I have some fear, I have some trepidation. Just, you can imagine, run the gamut of emotions, up and down, and that's what I'm feeling right now. So I fixed the room, so now the room is done, so now I don't have that to keep me busy. I'm doing lots of dishes, I'm cleaning the kitchen, I'm, doing as many things as I could do to keep myself busy, so that I don't sit here and think about it too much. And then after she gets here on Wednesday, we're going to kind of, hit the ground running as far as making her appointments, her doctor's appointments, and, everything that she needs. Because, again, we are a trauma therapy home. So these children are going to come in and they are going to have lots of trauma and need lots of therapy. And lots of, lots of the right responses from us. We have, a list of things that are trigger words. We have, and they're all individually done. We have a list of what her trigger words are. And I had kind of a freak out the other night, and our home study coordinator and our social worker came over to the house the next day, and they kind of talked me off the ledge, because I was like, I'm just terrified. I'm terrified I'm going to do something wrong. I'm terrified I'm going to say something wrong. I'm terrified I'm going to make this girl flip out. And the social worker looked at me and she goes, calm down. It's going to be okay, because you are going to say the wrong thing. You are going to make her flip out. You are going to trigger her. But you know what? It's going to be okay. You have the training that you have us, you have a whole team behind you. It's going to be okay. And I guess that's what I needed to hear, because I felt better afterwards. But I definitely had a freak out. But I'm feeling better. I'm feeling hopeful. And we will see how things go. But that is where we stand with our with our foster adoption story as it is right now, what we've been up to the past couple months. We took a little bit of a time out because my daughter moved back home and she does not like filming and being on film. So for about 3 weeks, there was no filming going on. We were still on the foster adoption journey. We were still, doing everything that I told you guys that we were doing. We were just doing it off of film. So now you are caught up. Now you have the full story. So until there is more to say, I will check out and see you guys later. I hope that you guys have a good day. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Like us by hitting that thumbprint. If you want to know when we upload new videos, because I don't have a schedule right now for uploading videos, so if you want to know when we upload, make sure that you hit that bell and it'll keep you informed as to when we upload new videos. So, but thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you later. Bye, chickadees.